Hi, my name is Lindsey and I wanted to talk to you about my internship experience, which I did at Rebuilding Hope, the Sexual Assault Center for Pierce County. So, finding my internship was pretty difficult for me, actually. I first reached out to any therapists and social workers that I knew, whether it was through church or previous connections that I had made. And once I realized that that was probably not going to be able to work out in my favor, I started cold calling area organizations and agencies to find out if they were in search or in need of interns. And a lot of what I found was that interns in our specific field are specifically usually master's program students, so that was what I ran into. And I just started visiting a lot of local organizations once the roadblocks started coming, because I figured actually being in someone's face and having the ability to make a good first impression in person and speak with supervisors and other people who worked there, it really started opening more doors for me. And then I followed everything up with phone calls and emails consistently, and most importantly, I never gave up. I ended up having to search for a few months actually in finding my internship, and contacted over 40 different agencies and organizations before I was able to find Rebuilding Hope. So the arrangements that were made once I was there was that I went in one day and met with the executive director and just had a brief about 5-minute interview with her. And then the next day, actually, the administrative assistant called me back and told me that they really were interested in having me come in for an interview. So I went in that day for an interview with the administrative assistant, who I knew I would be working with primarily. And arriving there, I realized that I was actually being hired on the spot. So that was a great process for me. It was pretty easy. So I went through the hiring process. I did the background and security checks, as they're a government-funded agency, and then went through the policy and procedure verifications with them. And I picked 2 days to work weekly because I needed 12 hours for the 12-week time period I was going to fill with my goal. I'm sorry, 12 hours for a 16-week time period in order to fill my 160-hour goal. And so that was our original agreement, and I worked primarily Tuesday and Thursday, with a few weeks in there that were a little different due to different meetings that I had with the executive director and board of directors. So my responsibilities there really ranged anywhere from the therapy department to the advocacy department to education and prevention, and then just general administrative duties that provided client interaction. And so for therapy, I was kind of their go-between with their clients. I would check clients in, I would schedule clients, I would also go over the introduction paperwork and surveys with them, and then I would do their exit interview surveys. With advocacy, I was able to sit in on a few different situations where there were police interviews. We would go to court. I was able to be in on a hospital call, and those were some pretty difficult things to see that these people are going through, and very eye-opening for me. Through education and prevention, I was actually able to go with our education and prevention specialist and watch her do a couple of different presentations, and she goes to different schools in the area as well as detention centers for youth. And that's pretty interesting because that's actually a lot of the places that end up turning out different referrals for them. Students don't realize that they have been sexually assaulted and have had inappropriate contact with people, and so her being there oftentimes results in students coming forward and reporting things. Daily client interaction just was answering phones, checking in clients, doing the billing, the surveys, as I stated before. And then my main responsibility has actually been organizing their annual fundraiser, which is called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. And it's literally men and women and children and families come and walk a mile in high heels. It's a fun event where people from all over the community really show their support in fundraising for us for a few months before the actual event. And then the day of, we actually have a pep rally, and that's been really cool to be at the base level of that and to see how a nonprofit organization functions and how they rely on their fundraising. So what did I bring to the table? I felt that I had a lot of administrative experience. I have been an office manager for 2 different companies now, and that really helped me, I think, in getting this position. I have professional and courteous communication skills and a really good demeanor that I'm able to present myself in a professional but friendly way at work. And honestly, I think the biggest thing for me that made the difference was just going in and having confidence in my abilities and in what I did have to offer them. I think that once they actually sat down and met with me, they realized that I was somebody who was capable and competent in doing what they needed. I'm a quick learner. I have a practical application of knowledge, which I have actually really come to appreciate throughout this internship experience. It's been great to take what we learn at BYU, Idaho, and actually apply it in a real life setting. And I have a strong desire to learn. I want to continue on and get my master's degree, so having these interactions with the therapists as well as the advocates has been incredibly important for me. And then finally, I feel that I have a strong and reliable work ethic. I'm somebody who's first one to be there, last one to leave, and that I feel like has gotten me pretty far with a lot of the jobs that I've sought out in my life. What did I gain from this experience? It has been absolutely incredible. I've gained a greater understanding of sexual assault and the uphill battle that we are facing in communities through legislation. There's quite a few things that I've realized where there's pitfalls that astound me in being able to get a sexual assault protection order, in crime victims compensation, in finding advocates, and in the legal process overall. People just aren't educated about sexual assault, and so a lot of victims who present in normal ways to us are seen as people who are lying because of the symptoms that they're showing, and that just isn't right. I found a passion for helping people and advocating for others, and I've really seen the principle of being able to assess clients' needs and understand what they need in order to better advocate for them on a legal or a medical basis. And I've gained an understanding of nonprofit organizations from the ground up. I've seen how the board of directors interacts with the day-to-day. I've seen funding, insurance, grants. It's been really great to recognize the difference in a nonprofit versus a business, which is what I have always worked for. And ways to help raise awareness and educate within the community. I think that's probably one of the biggest ones for me, is that I've gained confidence in what I know about sexual assault and have found ways to open the door and talk to people about it. And finally, the pitfalls that society falls into that perpetuates this problem. So learning about the sociology behind it, the social aspect of what our communities and what our society and what our media puts out there in relationship to sexual assault and victims in particular. So the greatest connection that I made to my coursework and what I experienced at my internship is the difference between assessing a client's need and pairing them with a treatment plan of action. With how many different theories we learn about, it is really important to have a thorough understanding of a client's history and background before deciding upon a specific plan of action to help them start their journey toward healing. I would highly recommend this organization as a home for an internship. It's been one of the most rewarding and eye-opening experiences I have ever had. It was just what I was hoping for when searching for something to dedicate my time and efforts to. I feel like I've actually been able to make a difference as well as learn something, and it's really offered me a different perspective on life and on society and on the community and where we need to go in order to make a difference. Who you would want to contact is Carlin Sampson. She's the crisis line coordinator, so she's over all of the advocates who work for the agency. Or you would want to contact Tasha Smith, who's the executive director. She is a very busy woman, so I would recommend contacting Carlin first. She is very organized and does very well at getting back to you, and she was really the one who advocated for me in getting this position, so I just have a special bond for her. And you can reach them at email, or you can reach either of them at the phone number that's listed with their varying extensions that are tied to the messaging system. And then I just wanted to take a few seconds to talk about a few tips and things that I've learned. So I think that the most important thing is just going into these internships being open-minded. I don't think that getting hooked on one particular idea of a place that you want to work is a good thing. It's great if it works out. For me, I wanted to be at a hospice center, and that's really what I was focusing on. And until I broadened my horizons, I wasn't able to see what else was out there for me, and it's really helped me to realize what I potentially want to do for a career. And don't get discouraged. As I said, I had to contact over 40 businesses before I even had somebody give me an interview. So it will happen for you. Hopefully it'll happen for you sooner than it did for me. And really don't take this opportunity for granted. I think that the internship experience has the power to change your outlook on life and possibly even your career, like it has done for me. It's an amazing chance to get hands-on experience doing what we love and what we've learned about. I'm really grateful for this, and thank you for your time.